my 4 little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. This speech, it came to pass when Barack Hussein Obama, on January 20th, 2009, became the 44th president and went down in the history books as the first African American in the United States of America. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests. The name Barack is an African name which means blessings. How many of you know that? Okay. Barack Obama was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, from an African father from Kenya and a Caucasian American mother from Wichita, Kansas. The union was a conflict from the onset. They met in a Russian class at the University of Hawaii. She liked this brilliant African man. She was very intrigued by him. Both parents did not like the union. However, Anne Dunham, she became pregnant with Obama and she was advised to have an abortion. She refused. Thank God she did not abort him. They got married when she was 3 months pregnant. Unfortunately, the marriage failed. At a very young age, his parents were divorced. The mother then remarried another foreigner from Indonesia. He was from Indonesia. The reason they said she liked foreign men, she was studying anthropology. That was her major. So she got married and they moved to Indonesia, and Barack went with them. She gave birth. His mother gave birth to a girl, so he has a half-sister. While in Indonesia, the mother said, Barack, you have to improve on your English skills. And she signed up for an English course for him, a correspondence course. And she said, Barack, you got to learn English because one day you may choose to become the president of the United States. She used to wake up very early to learn English. When he was 10 years old, Obama Sr., his father, appeared in his life for 1 month during the Christmas time. He would not see his father again because his father died later in a motor accident. At the age of 10, the mother, she could not take care of Barack, so she sent him to Honolulu, to Hawaii, to live with her parents. She then left her husband, and then she continued her studies. That was his childhood. Now I'm going to talk about 3 things which I like about Obama. I'll talk about Obama as a father, a husband, and as a president. As a father, Obama is a very attentive man. He wanted to be a role model because he had an absentee father. He's always holding his daughter's hand, the younger girl, I think, Malia. He's always spending time with his daughters, and he has a policy in the White House from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. is dinner time. He tells his staff, no phone calls, this is time for me and my family. They ate 5 days a week, he spent time with his family. He was a very attentive father. And he also scored 100% for parent-teacher conferences. Obama was a devoted husband. He really loved Michelle. They are a very romantic couple from what I see on TV. He's always holding her hands. They always appreciate each other. Then, Obama, as a president, was a very good man, and he had excellent time management skills. How many of you here exercise? Very few. How many of you say that you're too busy to exercise? All right. Obama, when he was in the White House, he used to wake up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. He and Michelle would exercise for 90 minutes, 3 times a week. So if the president of America at that time, such a busy man, he can find time to exercise, everybody can. He was a very simple man. He used to play basketball with his staff. In other countries, a president cannot go close like that. You can't play. He was a very easygoing man, played basketball with his staff. Another thing which I liked about Obama, he was a very humble man. On Christmas Day and Thanksgiving, he and his family will go to soup kitchen and actually serve people. He wanted to teach his daughters that there are people out there who are less fortunate. So he was really easygoing. He was a very good president. He was my favorite president. I used to live in America. I went through Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush. I really liked the 2 Bushes. The one thing that I really liked most of all about Obama was the way he spoke. He had an electrifying way of speaking. He spoke very eloquently, and the speech which won him the vote as president was the National Democratic Convention speech in 2004. He's a very charismatic person, and he uses structure and content and delivery when he speaks. When he speaks, he really engages everybody. From the beginning, he starts to the end. I was never bored of listening to him. And also when he speaks, he's very emotional. I've seen tears run down his eyes. On 3 occasions, I remember, he cried. There are a few takeaways from this speech of Obama being the first African-American president. The first one is, be careful of the names you gave to your children. His name was Blessings, an African name. Pastors always tell you at baby dedication, be careful of the name you give your child. It can easily affect them positively or negatively. I remember when I was teaching French, we were talking about names. One of my students says, Mr. Pale, I want to share something. When I was in high school, we had a teacher called Mr. Dark Hour. He was a mean man. Then I had a student, her name was Sunshine. She was always happy and always laughing. So the name Barak means blessings, which helped him throughout his life. So he has a rag to riches story. Another takeaway from this speech is that do not have an abortion. This is just my own opinion. You either have the baby and give it up for adoption, but don't have an abortion. If Anne Dunham had aborted Obama, he wouldn't have made history being the first African American in the United States. The third takeaway is that it's okay for somebody else to raise you. Sometimes people are not raised by their biological parents. Anne Dunham was on food stamps. She couldn't afford to raise Obama. She felt bad, and she said sometimes she would go and visit him in Hawaii, but she could not raise him. The grandparents raised him. His grandmother worked in a bank, and she could afford to raise Obama. A few weeks ago, I met one of Obama's bodyguards. He came for a book launch, and we talked about Obama, and it was very interesting. And I also read a book by one of Obama's former bodyguards, Reggie Love. Who has read that book? It's called Power Forward, My Presidential Education. He said that he would describe Obama in 3 sentences. Obama is an effective father, a devoted husband, and he has a wicked sense of humor. Toastmasters.